Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're opening up a set of sources that really challenge the foundation of how we think about money, about success and retirement. We're doing a deep dive into the philosophy of maximizing life fulfillment by daring to aim to die with zero.
It's a massive mental shift, really, because when most people talk about finance, what are they talking about? They're focused purely on maximizing accumulation.
Just how big can I make the pile?
Exactly. But this philosophy, and this is what Bill Perkins champions, it reframes life completely. It's not a goal of financial growth. It's an optimization problem.
Okay, an optimization problem. Let's unpack that. So we're looking for that sweet spot, right?
Right.
How to maximize the fulfillment you get out of your one life while, minimizing the waste of what Perkins calls life energy.
Yeah, that money you earn but never get around to using.
It kind of flips the whole ant and the grasshopper fable on its head.
It's the ultimate antidote to it. We're all programmed to fear being the grasshopper,
Right?
the one who didn't save. But this philosophy makes you ask, I think, a really critical question. If the ant spends his entire short life just slaving away to build a fortune, when does the ant ever get to play?
That's the perfect setup. So our mission today is to unpack the core rules that can help you, the listener, get off that financial autopilot.
To stop just going through the motions.
And start making purposeful, deliberate choices about your most valuable and finite resources.
Time and health.
So let's jump right in with that core issue, wasting life energy. The philosophy's first rule is pretty straightforward. Maximize positive life experiences.
But you have to understand what life energy means first. And it's actually, it's simple but pretty profound.
Okay.
It's just the finite number of hours you spend working. You exchange those hours for money. So if you die with money left over,
then that cash represents hours of your life you basically worked for free.
Exactly. It's the ultimate inefficiency in the whole system of your life.
That is a radical way to look at it, especially for, those of us raised to think saving is always a virtue. And there's this perfect story in the source material about a first low-paying job. The author's working as a screen clerk in New York City, making almost nothing, and he somehow saves $1,000.
And he's proud of it. He goes and tells his boss, a guy named Joe Farrell.
Right, and Joe Farrell's reaction is not what he expected.
Not at all. It's just this brutal assessment. He basically looks at him and says, Are you a freaking idiot?
Wow.
You are saving money away from your starving younger self to give to your future, much wealthier self.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's brutal, but it's honest. And it gets to the heart of something financial pros call consumption smoothing.
Yeah, but it feels so counterintuitive to most of us.
Why is that?
Because we're taught to think saving should always be like a percentage of our income. Consumption smoothing is this old idea that says your spending, your quality of life, should be pretty even over your whole life.
Even if your income shoots up later?
Exactly. If you're confident your earnings are going to be higher in the future, it is completely rational to spend more, save less in your broke 20s. You're sort of borrowing happiness from your richer future self.
And when you think like that, it immediately shows the hidden cost of some of those high salaries we all chase.
Oh, absolutely.
Chasing the $70,000 job when maybe a $40,000 job gives you a better return on life.
Precisely. Because if that high-paying job means a horrible commute, and you have to buy expensive clothes, and it steals 20 extra hours of your week, you're actually poorer in the currency that really matters.
Which is free time.
Free time. The goal is maximizing life enjoyment, not just the number in your bank account. You have to factor in all those hidden costs.
Okay, so if life energy is finite, and we shouldn't waste it, how do we maximize a return on the money we do spend? And this is where the memory dividend comes in.
Yes. And it's rooted in real psychology. I mean, study after study confirms it. Spending money on experiences, concerts, travel, learning a new skill, it makes us fundamentally happier than spending on stuff.
Right. The stuff depreciates, but the experiences,
they gain value. They pay an ongoing dividend because every single time you remember that event, you tell the story, you look at a photo, you get another little burst of fulfillment. You're just racking up experience points.
So an experience you buy today is like an asset that keeps paying out for the rest of your life.
And the timing is so crucial. The closer you are to death when you have that amazing experience, the fewer dividends you get to collect.
So you have to front load the experiences.
You have to.
But this philosophy also says you should take some, financial risks to get those experiences. And the sources have this one story that is frankly, kind of shocking.
Oh, the lawn shark story.
Yeah.
It's about a friend of the author, Jason Rufo. He was making about $18,000 a year, which is not a lot.
Not at all.
But he was desperate to go on a 3-month backpacking trip through Europe. So he borrowed $10,000 from a loan shark.
A loan shark. I mean, on paper, that is just the definition of financially reckless.
Mm-hmm.
How do you even begin to rationalize that?
Well, because years later, Jason looks back on that trip and calls it a bargain. The life experiences he got, the memories, the perspective were priceless.
They can't be taken away.
Can't be taken away, can't be taxed, can't be erased. And that's the shift we're talking about. You're moving your focus from a financial return on equity to a life-based return on experience.
That makes sense. You go from asking, how much did my investment account grow, to how much value in memories did my time and money create this year?
Which brings us right to the critical constraints of life: time and health.
Right.
You can buy time by outsourcing chores. You can always earn more money, but you can never buy back physical ability or stop yourself from aging.
This is where the philosophy talks about thinking of life in distinct seasons or time buckets, and they don't have clear end dates. And the author shares this really poignant story about the last time his daughter wanted to watch Pooh's Heflin movie.
It's such a simple, relatable example. It's not some big planned event. It's that the time bucket for that specific, simple joy, it just quietly closed. And he didn't realize that season was over until it was already gone.
That feeling of inevitable quiet loss, that's maybe the biggest motivator to stop procrastinating on life.
It has to be. And if we look at those constraints, health, money, and free time, they're almost never aligned. There's this shifting balance triangle.
Explain that.
Okay, so in your 20s and 30s, you've got tons of health and time, but very little money.
Yep, sounds familiar.
Then from about 30 to 60, that's the time crunch. Money and health are generally okay, but free time is incredibly scarce. Career, family, all of it.
Yeah,
And then 61 and beyond, you often have a lot of money and a lot of time, but your biggest scarcity is now health.
and that right there, that exposes the core problem of what they call the declining utility of money.
Right. The usefulness of every dollar you saved just goes down as your health goes down.
You can afford the round-the-world cruise, but if you spend the whole trip in the ship's medical bay, that dollar didn't buy you much, did it?
Not at all. And the data, it really backs this up. The Consumer Expenditure Survey shows that average annually spending just drops off a cliff after age 65.
Really?
Yeah. For households run by 55 to 64-year-olds, annual spending was around $65,000. For those 75 and older, it plummeted to $42,000.
And that's even with rising healthcare costs.
Exactly. Money just can't buy physical ability.
Which leads to this metaphor I really love, the personal interest rate.
Yeah, this is a great way to think about it.
The rate is basically what it would cost to get you to delay an experience based on your age and health.
So if you're 20, your rate is low. Delaying a trip for a year, the cost is minimal. You've got decades of healthy life ahead, probably.
But if you're 80,
the rate is high, you might not be around next year, or your health could decline a lot. And if you're terminally ill, that rate is, it's off the charts. You have to act now.
which logically means that investing in your health is more valuable than almost any financial investment you could make.
It's the ultimate life optimization. It's a compounding factor on the enjoyment of all your future experiences. Look at the story of the Staples brothers, who made that huge weight loss bet.
Right.
That decision to get healthy immediately increased the potential for every single dollar they had to generate future joy.
So if the usefulness of money goes down with age, there has to be an optimal point, a peak, to stop just accumulating more of it.
Yes.
When is enough? Actually enough.
The philosophy argues for finding your net worth peak. And importantly, it's a date. It's linked to your age, not just a dollar figure. It's the point when your ability to enjoy experiences starts to consistently decline.
And the calculations suggest for most people, this peak hits somewhere between, 45 and 60?
Between 45 and 60, yeah.
Okay, but before anyone listening starts giving away all their money, we have to cover the baseline, the survival threshold.
The foundation.
Bare minimum you need for the worst case scenario.
That's it. It's the amount needed to survive until your maximum possible age, say 95 or 100. The source gives an example, like $212,000 could last 25 years under certain conditions. Once you have that crippling fear of just basic survival should be gone.
And once that fear is gone, you can see this trade-off curve really clearly. Your rising wealth curve eventually crosses your declining health curve.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep working past that point, you're sacrificing precious time and health for money that literally cannot buy back physical ability. You're buying the potential for shuffleboard instead of, say, skiing.
But then you get the big objection,
I've
right?
led my job.
Exactly. I get fulfillment from my high-paying job. If I keep working, isn't that fine?
And the answer is, it's only fine if you change your financial behavior right now.
Yes. Take the example of John Arnold, the hedge fund guy who made $4 billion by age 38. He kept working well past the point of any optimal utility for that money, just out of habit.
So if you choose to keep working past your peak,
You have to dramatically ramp up your spending. On experiences, on charity, something. You have to do it now, or you risk wasting all that life energy you spent earning it.
which brings us to the final part, strategic giving and taking risks. Because we have to challenge the idea that leaving a huge inheritance is the most caring thing to do.
Right. If your goal is to have the most impact, giving money to your kids when it has the most leverage in their lives makes more sense.
And the book suggests the optimal window for that is between the ages of, 26 and 35?
Around then, yeah. That's when it can help them buy a house or raise a family or start a career. That's when the capital can actually change their life's trajectory.
But the obvious question is, what if they just squander it?
It's a valid concern, for sure. But the philosophy argues that the risk of them squandering it is outweighed by the guarantee that the money will have its maximum impact. Look at the story of Virginia Collin. Her inheritance came decades too late, long after she'd struggled financially to raise her family.
The money couldn't fix the hardship she already went through.
Exactly.
And the same principle applies to charity.
You can only be generous while you're alive, while you still have choice. The sources bring up Sylvia Bloom, the secretary who secretly amassed over $8 million, but only gave it away when she died at 96.
And the argument is that this was a terrible inefficiency.
A terrible inefficiency, because all the needy people who could have benefited during those decades didn't. This is why people champion giving while living, like Chuck Feeney, who strategically gave away $8 billion while he was still alive to see the impact.
Finally, we get to risk. The idea is to take your biggest risks when you have the least to lose.
When you're young, you're facing what's called asymmetric risk. The potential upside is huge, and the downside is pretty low because you have so much time to reload.
Mark Cuban's story is the perfect example. He moves to Dallas, gets fired, starts a business.
And he famously said, I had nothing, so I had nothing to lose, right? It was all about going for it.
The relevance for you, the listener, is pretty clear. If you're young, the stakes are low. Go pursue that dream now. If you fail, you can recover.
But if you wait until you're 50, with a mortgage and kids, and less time to enjoy any success, the stakes are infinitely higher.
So after all this, what's the big takeaway? The philosophy of Die with Zero isn't about being reckless.
Not at all.
It's about finding the right balance between the ant, the hard work and saving, and the grasshopper, the living and strategic spending.
It demands that you consciously turn off the autopilot setting for both your saving and your spending.
And, while the goal of dying with exactly $0 is, basically impossible.
I'll probably have a few bucks left over.
Right. But by pursuing that ideal, you completely shift your focus. You move away from just maximizing wealth.
And toward maximizing the experiences that actually make up your life.
It forces you to be purposeful, to be deliberate about how you use your time and your money today.
Before your health declines and those precious time buckets close for good.
The driving idea behind this whole system, and it's a powerful one, is this.
In the end, the business of life is the acquisition of memories. So what are you waiting for?